Hello, you're watching us from RTD's English News Edition. Here are the top stories. Concerning the economic development, the unlocking of the potential of energy and transport sectors. The launch of the National Week of Social Action by the Social Affairs Department. Thank you for joining us in Economic Development Workshop on Unlocking Energy and Transport Potentials up in this morning at the Campus Key Palace Hotel. This workshop is jointly organized by three ministerial departments, those of Economy and Finances, the Ministry of Energy, and finally the Ministry of Equipment and Transport. It was made possible from the support of the World Bank. In this project, this workshop aims to encourage private investment to focus on these key sectors of the economy. The state should no longer be the only player to promote these growth sectors. Energy and transport have great need for investment, which have brought huge benefits in the short and medium term. These are two sectors that need structural transformation and will pull up the country's economic growth. It must be remembered that transport concerns roads, railways, sea and air links. As for the energy sector, it also needs investment, diversification, especially as the cost of kilowatts per hour remains high for the moment in the country. The so-called green or renewable energies can easily be developed, especially solar energy. At first, experiences gained in this field in Morocco or Spain have been conclusive, and these renewable energies promote the protection of the environment in the biosphere. In his speech, the Minister of Finance, Ilyas Douale, laid the groundwork for debates. He pointed out that Djibouti's economic growth today stood at 7.5%. Let's listen to him.
It is a pleasure for me to discuss on two major themes, which are the energy sector and the transport sector. We all know that 80% of our GDP is coming from one sector, which is the service sector. In this 80%, we have the transport sector, which is around 30%. But we all know that our economic growth haven't changed from 7 to 7.5% for this year and has been regular for the past 10 years. Growth has not always been inclusive because our economy has not diversified enough. This development is blocked by inavailability of proper infrastructure, and I am referring again to the energy and transport sector, without forgetting the telecommunication and the new technology sector.
The Minister of Energy, Younis Ali-Gedi, in his speech also said that the government has in its orientation strategies emphasized that Djibouti engaged in the development of renewable energies, a will of the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Mergele. Let's listen to this video for more details.
Fixé par le président de la République.
In accordance with the roadmap set up by the President of the Republic, Ismail Mergele, Djibouti initiated a dynamic of green energy for the launch of an ambitious program for renewable energy development. This vision of the Djiboutian government is based on the strategy that we focused on putting value in unexhausted resources such as solar, wind, and geothermal energy. Djibouti set up the goal of which from 100 terminal to 100 renewable energy until 2020 to 2027 through the combination of renewable energy initiatives. In this context, Djibouti tells this position as a major actor of electricity production for renewable energy that are driving a sustainable economy development and a new growth model. Many private developers have demonstrated their interest to install a private plant based on renewable energy. Several of those plants are on the ground, with a 50 megawatt solar parks at the Grambara and Ali Sabih, and another one is at the Marjouk Park.
The Minister of Equipment and Transport, meanwhile, in his speech raised the highlights that assimilate and guide the 2035 strategy.
tout au long de cet atelier et de ce processus de l'étude stratégique en question, surtout
The High Islamic Council held this morning a graduation ceremony to promote the third and fourth of the young students of Imam al-Shafi'i Institute for the supervision of the memorizers. The ceremony took place under the auspices of the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Mumin Hassan Barre, in the presence of his Secretary General, Mohammed Sultan Ahmed, and directors of various departments of the ministry, as well as the Executive Secretary of High Islamic Council, Sheikh Kaurah Fatah, and the Director of Mosque, Gashamali Ahmed Hassan Migani. Also present at this event were representatives of the Arab private schools and as well as centers for memorization of the Holy Quran in Djibouti. The Imam of Al-Shafi'i Institute for the supervision of the memorizers was created in October 2010 in collaboration with the International Organization for the Memorization of the Holy Quran in Saudi Arabia for the purpose of teaching and publishing the Quran. In the training of teachers of Quranic memory centers during the ceremony, participants followed examples of conservation and recitation submitted by graduate students who received certificates from senior officials. For his part, the Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqfs, who sponsored the certificates award ceremony, congratulated the students of the third and fourth senses, wishing them every success in their professional life. And Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre stressed the importance of efforts deployed by the President of the Republic to promote the Quran. In this regard, the Minister of Muslim Affairs recalled the regional Quran memorization contest initiated in 1999 by the head of state Ismail Margele, aims to encourage young Muslims to better assimilate the Holy Quran and reunite them around noble values preached by the sacred book of Islam. A social week launching ceremony was organized yesterday afternoon in UNIFT headquarters and chaired by the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Muna Osman Aden. The ceremony began with the official opening of a UNIFT social window by the Secretary of State for Social Affairs and parliamentarians in the presence of UNIFT Secretary General Fatuma. And the purpose of this as well as is to give women the freedom to undertake to improve their living conditions with the aim of combating female poverty. The Secretariat has had this idea in which women will be autonomous and undertake self-help. The ceremony brought together several women from different committees and associations of the country. In an intervention, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Muna Osman Aden, explained the advancement of women in all socio-cultural areas is a major asset, and this will strengthen sustainable developments, because without women there is no development. As part of the National Social Action Week, the State Secretariat in charge of Social Affairs organized this morning at the People's Palace a validation workshop of the enumeration report of the special needs people living in the Republic of Djibouti. This workshop took place in the presence of the Secretary of State in charge of Social Affairs, Muna Osman Aden, Minister Delegate of Decentralization, Mohammed Hamidou Aramis, the Mayor of the City of Djibouti, Fatuma Awali Osman, the President of the Human Rights Commission, as well as the President of the Networks of the People with Special Needs. In addition to the official, this workshop also saw the participation of the representative of the United Nations agencies and the representative of the local communities. The State Secretary of Social Affairs had previously launched a large-scale special needs consensus survey in close collaboration with the ministry, which is responsible for decentralization. And this work, carried out in a spirit of partnership between the two departments, aims at ensuring that citizens should be equal before all rights, namely education, health, and access to housing. A partnership agreement was signed this morning between the Djibouti Post and the airline Air Djibouti to facilitate the delivery of parcels. The agreement was ratified by Djibouti Director Bahnan Ali Meidal and Air Djibouti Director Abdurrahman Ali. These two directors welcomed the finalization of this agreement, which brings together two entities of the country, and the signature took place in the premises of the company, Air Djibouti. All parcels destined for the Somali capital Mogadishu will be sent via Air Djibouti, and Air Djibouti will also transport reverse the faults and parcels from Somalia to Djibouti. The national carrier will deliver the mails and postal parcels safely in a very short time, and Somali Post resumed these services in 2017 after a quarter century. And since 1991, postal exchanges are very important and vital for both countries, bringing people closer together as well as their interests. Especially on this subject, a symbolic ceremony marking the departure of the first postal parcels from Djibouti to Mogadishu was organized for the occasion. Several personalities attended the ceremony, including the Secretary General of the Ministry of Equipment and Transport, Director of the Airport, and Directors of the Post and Air Djibouti. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Equipment and Transport, Said Nuh Hassan, welcomed this initiative. And now in Arta, following the signing of a convention between the UNH and the National Assembly, parliamentarians continue to carry out awareness and prevention campaigns on the measures to be taken in order to avoid being contaminated by the virus that has no vaccine so far. Mentoring and psychological support missions are also conducted with target groups, including people with HIV/AIDS. The latter should in no way be stigmatized or rejected by the society. A vast awareness and popularization campaign on the rights of people infected and affected by the HIV/AIDS is being conducted. The parliamentary delegation led by the MP Fatima Mohammed Kamil yesterday made a trip to the locality of Omar Jaga. A meeting with the residents of the area took place at the headquarters of the Unity in Tena. The Dakhil Prefecture and Gendarmerie forces fight mercilessly against illegal immigration in the region. In fact, following large-scale patrol operations in Dakhil and its peripheries the night before yesterday, the elements of the Dakhil Gendarmerie Brigade intercepted more than 50 of the men and women of Ethiopian ethnicity, an operation that is a part of the fight against illegal immigration in our country. And these people arrested as well as they wanted to go through in the country of the Gulf. The later were forced to return to their country of origin from the next day across the Galilee border by the units of the Dakhil Gendarmerie. And now in the news around the world, Saudi Arabia pays $2 billion to Yemen. Riyadh will sign a check for $2 billion to bankrupt Central Bank of Yemen to meet the needs of this country at war for 3 years. A war in which the Wahhabi kingdom is engaged militarily, and this decision is in the continuation of the Saudi kingdom's support to the Yemeni people, said an official statement broadcast in Riyadh. In its statement, the Saudi government stressed that its financial assistance was intended to strengthen the Yemeni rial and to as well accuse the Houthis of having stolen revenues for public services and also manipulate the course of the rial, seriously affecting the lives of Yemenis for years. The price of the local currency has collapsed against the dollar, which today is worth 500 rials. It is here we close this edition. Thank you for joining us on Djibouti and RTD. Have a good night.